Welcome to the Journey to Happy podcast, where you get concrete tools for mindset work, my best tips for lowering your anxiety. And you also hear funny and encouraging stories from me and others who have stories to share. Around here, you'll discover the easy way to stop overthinking, to get rid of self doubt, and finally embrace a calmer, more confident you. I am Olga, your host, a former therapist, a life coach, wife, blissfully an IVF mother, and a coffee lover. I'm excited that you tune in today, and I'm honored to be on the journey with you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Journey to Happy podcast. I'm Olga, your host, and today, for the first time ever, I've got a blogger in the podcast. And I have to say, Sarah, that I'm feeling like very fancy and special right now.
Oh gosh.
Because it's not easy to get one of you guys to share. And I am so happy that even before we started recording, you said, I'm so open. And I welcome you into this podcast for that reason. We keep it real in this podcast. And I admire the work that you're doing. You're a mom of two. And I see you being so consistent. And as a self-employed woman myself, I know it takes a lot of time and effort to keep things running smoothly. And I so want to peek into your brain and how you balance things out. And so, first and foremost, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
and I find it funny though that everybody looking in thinks things are so smooth, because isn't it like it's so funny because behind the scenes, like, things truly are chaos. Like, right before I came to talk to you, I was trying to finish Isla's homeschool. I was unpacking the groceries. Like, Noah was painting. It was getting everywhere. And I was actually texting my agent at the same time over a campaign that's happening. So I'm like, there's no smooth. It's chaos. But it's flowing and it's good.
I love that you're here, and I already love you. And even though this is the first time we meet, because you're starting by telling me that there is chaos. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being human.
We keep it real here too.
And also because, but most of us, we're hanging out a lot in Instagram these days and in social media. And one of my clients recently said that the main cause of her anxiety and feeling down is social media. And I was like, what? Why? Who are you following that makes you feel this way? And so I do think that we keep this like pretty put together, and like, I look at your page and I'm so peaceful. The photos are so perfect and everything is so beautiful and staged. And I'm like, yes, I want all of that. And I can see how some people think this must be Sarah's life every single day, every moment. And they forget this is a photo. You know, like there was a lot of work behind this photo, and it's a photo and it has a purpose. And this is my full-time job.
Yeah. If you come watch my stories, you're going to realize very quickly that, like, oh, this is very different. Here's the real version.
Okay, so we kind of jump in, but I want to take a step back and ask you to introduce yourself. Tell my listeners, who are you, what you do, where they can find you, even though we'll have all your tags and everything, that your website and whatever you want to send people to in my show notes. But just tell us who you are, Sarah.
So I am Sarah. I'm a mom of two. I have Isla, who is 6, and Noah, who will be turning 2 next month. And I was a teacher with the Calgary board for 10 years, and I decided to stay home after having my first daughter. And then I found myself lacking something for me. And so I started to learn about photography, and I started partnering with small shops and just sending them photography, photos of their clothing just to use for their own websites. And I just loved it. Like, it was really a passion of mine. And then my Instagram kind of just grew from there. And so now I have just over 50,000 followers on Instagram. My account's Hey Sarah Darling. And we are kind of like lifestyle focused, family, design, a little bit of everything, honestly, just life with 2 girls. And I also have a blog called Milk and Confetti Blog.
Okay, so I don't even have 2,000 followers, and this is like my full-time job, is to like, it feels like my full-time job to be like, I exist. Look what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I want to take a moment to say congratulations, because I personally know the amount of time and effort that it takes to grow an audience. And the fact that you've been doing this over the last 6 years since your first daughter was born, it's mind blowing. So congratulations again. Can you walk me through a little bit of what goes on in the mind of a school teacher who goes on mat leave, like most of us, and then she's like, fuck it, I'm not going back to work and I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to learn some photography and I'm going to make this work. What the heck?
It was honestly really hard. I cried for months trying to make that decision. So I took an extended leave. So I got 2 years. And then at the end of my 2-year period, I got placed at a new school. And I had to make the decision if I was going back part-time or full-time or anytime at all. And just like in my heart, I knew that it wasn't for me. I love the kids. I love children. But the politics and the extra work and the other things, they're just not for me. And like that part of it was literally soul sucking for me. And I just knew I wasn't happy. And I knew I couldn't leave my daughter to go and do something that I didn't truly love because she was more important. And so we made the decision then to just have me walk away. And I actually didn't have a plan to work. Like I was just going to be a stay-at-home mom and I don't know, go to the park every day and like do all of that, which is awesome. Like if you enjoy that, that's amazing. But I'm a busybody. I love projects. I like to have something on the go all the time. My personality is not a sit still personality. I don't know if I've ever like sat still in my life. And so I very quickly was like, okay, wait, I can't just do this every day. Like I need something. And I guess my platform then with the photography came connection. Like I was really craving connection from other people and other adults. And it was hard. Like making that decision was really difficult. But now looking back on it, it was truly the best decision I could have ever made for myself and my children and my family. And it really is such a blessing.
I was just recording another podcast by myself. And because one of my clients asked me, how do you bring onto the mindset of not caring about what others think? And somehow that brought me back all the way to how when I made the hard decision of not going back to my full-time job with benefits, I had made it to my dream position, executive. I was in the executive office. I was making really good cash.
Yeah.
And I realized it wasn't what I thought it would be. You know, when you make up something to be greater than, and you're in it and you're like, is this it?
Yeah.
So I decided to quit that safety to open Olga's Way to coach women. And I mean, now we're beginning to know what a coach is, but back then I knew I had to really do the traditional counseling first and then like grow. And one of I wasn't even a mom. I was not on mat leave. Like I was just like, I don't love it anymore. I want to do what I love. But one of the thoughts that really carried me forward was the cost of not doing this long term. So sometimes we have to make a risk that feels extremely difficult. And like you, I look back, it's been 7 years for me, and I would never not do this. Like I will never not have taken that risk because it brought me to discovering so much more about, my passions and what I like doing and how I like doing it. So I think that that's so powerful for listeners here who might be stuck in a job. I actually coach a lot of school teachers, and that's probably going to come to an end because my son is going to daycare. So now my working hours will be school teacher working hours as well.
Yeah.
I agree with you. There's so many demands, so much stress on the job that is undervalued, in my opinion. And so many of the women I'm coaching, they are like, I've got so many skills, but I don't like using them here. How do I make that step?
Or you don't even get to use them there.
You don't even get to use them.
No, I found that class sizes were so big at that point that I truly felt like I was babysitting. Like I didn't even get to do what I wanted to do with the children because there were 30 of them and they're 6 years old. And what can you do with that? Like,
did you ever dream of becoming this big blogger and influencer in your life? Like when you started, did you have this vision?
No, and I don't even see myself that way now. Like as soon as people
tell me.
I don't know. I'm just like, I'm posting photos and I have my friends that I talk to on Instagram and
that's it.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Like
How do you think you're influencing the life of women right now, or moms?
Like even that concept is strange for me. Like I don't put myself, like that almost makes me feel like I'm on a pedestal, like I have this power over people, or like this like influence over people, like you said. Like it makes me uncomfortable for some reason, because I don't know, I just show up and I just be myself, and I just try and support other women. And I don't even look at it as influencing, I guess. I think the new term that my agency like uses when referring to influencers, we call them content creators, because we don't like to necessarily refer to ourselves as these power holding people. Like it's weird. And so we just say content creators, because we look at it as more of an art, and we are creating an art for brands. And I don't know.
I would say something here, because I think that for my entire existence, I avoided power. I was like, who am I to have any power? I don't want to have any power. And
Yeah.
I happened to have a law enforcement
Yeah.
job.
Right.
And I hated it. I hated that I made final decisions. And I
Mhm.
hated that I was the person who decided whether a child stayed home or didn't. Like to
Yeah.
me, that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like, who am I? And like, God, I can't even imagine now as a mom, I would be like, nah,
It would be hard.
I couldn't do it. And I had the vision that I couldn't do this long term, which is why I quit.
Yeah.
But I came to understand something, and I now coach women on this. I'm just going to leave you with this little bit of wisdom, even though you didn't come here for coaching. If we stop seeing our human condition and our existence as something that leaves a legacy and that influences people,
Mhm.
we're deserving our community, and we're deserving our light and our born given gift to shine.
Right. Yeah.
And I think for years I tried to minimize. Like I felt your discomfort. I'm like, shit, me? An influencer? Like when I see how many people have downloaded this podcast, I'm like, but who? Where are these thousands of people wanting to listen to this? Like, where are they?
Yeah.
And who am I to? And so I always want to remind women that no matter what your job is, you're always impacting.
Mhm.
Everything you do has an impact.
I like the word impact better.
Because I tell you why, because influencing has a feeling of manipulation. Like we're manipulating people, right? And so,
Yes.
but what if you're manipulating people to love themselves?
Right.
What if you're manipulating people to love their home?
Right.
To land into their reality with an open heart. So I just want you to own the fact that you're an influencer and that you're influencing women in the most positive and beautiful way that they can possibly be influenced. It's good to be a good influence, right? We want to hang out with people who we think like, oh, she's such a good influence. When I'm around here, I just love myself.
Mhm.
So I wanna leave that with you, but I totally get the discomfort. And for anybody listening here, just notice how we women in general are so uncomfortable with power. And that is what we need the most, is our own freaking power, and to
Isn't
land
that true?
full force owning it. Like
Yeah.
I now own that I influence women. I do. And so I just bring my intentionality as to where do I want to bring them. Like
Right.
if people are gonna trust me and maybe do something with the words I'm sharing, like where do I want to direct my words? And so Sarah, own it.
Yes. Thank you. That's really good.
You're not just creating content. You're
Yeah.
creating for a purpose and an intention, so much more than that.
I'm impacting.
You're creating an impact. You're leaving a legacy.
Yeah.
You know, I get chills when I think of that. That's amazing. So I have a list of questions, and God, I didn't know how much people wanted to go to know into the inside of your life, but a lot of these questions are like so personal. I'm like, what? I've never brought a person in my podcast where people care to know, like, how long have you been a vegetarian for? But we'll ask all those questions because you have a very large audience who wants to know you more. But I'm going to start with my top favorite question that was asked by one of my the girls in my audience, and she is asking, how do you get in the right mindset to create the lifestyle that you want? How do you turn your thoughts into reality? And I think you are a manifester of this, Sarah. Like
I am.
You've done some work around this, and I just want to know all of it.
Okay, so I am a firm believer in manifesting. I was actually just talking to my agent last week, and he's new to me. He just came on, and he was like, what do you want? Tell me, like, who do you want me to pitch? Like, do you want me to reach out to any companies? And I'm sure all of the other influencers or content creators on his roster were like, yep, here's my list. This is what I want. I want, reach out to this patio company. And I was like, Connor, I kind of work differently. I truly believe that like things will fall into place when they're supposed to. And I'm just really grateful for the things that do come along. And if there's something in my life that I feel like I need, or something that I'm just like, oh, this would be really fantastic right now, I swear, Olga, it just happens. Like, I don't even know. It sounds so weird to say that. And it sounds like so like spacey, but it literally will just happen. Like, I have so many examples of campaigns that I'm like, this would really benefit my family right now. And it's like, something you just feel. And then I will get an email for it, or I don't know, like,
okay, I'm getting chills.
They just happen.
I'm getting chills as you talk. I call myself a witch, okay? And the secret of my witchcraft is in connecting to what's in my heart and
yes,
like declaring it, this or something better, because I'm not God, so I don't know if there's something better for me. And this year I decided, I have a son. His name is Mateo, and he's my greatest accomplishment to date. But he came as a result of 4 rounds of IVF and 5 years of trying everything in my power.
Yeah.
And January of this year, we thought we're done. Like, crap, I'm 38 years old. I'm about to turn 39. It took us our 30s to make one baby. We're like, okay, we're wrapping it up. We're lucky we have one. But this year in January, I said to myself, what if we do one more round? I feel that there's another baby in me. Like, let's just try for one more. And my husband, who had previously been completely against more hormones in my body, he said, okay, one more. And I couldn't believe it. And the next morning, he woke me up and said, email the doctor. We're going for one more IVF. And I was like, really? Yeah. I don't have to be behind you to like force you to do this. So we emailed the doctor within 2 weeks. We were in Toronto because we were doing I live in Ottawa, but my doctor is in Toronto. And we did the round. We just finished it. As I was writing down my goals in January for this year, I said, I want to make babies with ease. And in fact, I want to make a baby girl with ease. Like, I already have a boy and I love him to pieces. And I want to know what it's like to be the mom of a girl.
Yeah.
I'm a week and a half from transferring the embryo of a baby girl. I get chills. We made her with all the love. And all the explanations I can give you is that I decided that I was going to do this with ease. And I declared it. And I said to you, this will be fantastic. And I want to experience this.
Yeah.
I don't have a guaranteed pregnancy. I don't know that I'm going to birth a live child. Yeah. We've had a lot of losses. Everything can happen. But I do know that up to this point, I co-created that.
Yeah.
From what you said exactly, connecting and then not being afraid to say that. I want that.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. And there's something to be said too for just putting it out into the universe and not carrying the stress or anxiety of trying to control everything. Because I am such a control freak. I have a hard time with decisions, and I've told myself I just have to trust that it's fine. When I have to when I have to come up with fake content for the week and I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have nothing. I'm not creative right now. I don't know what to do. I have to just trust that whatever I need to do, it's just going to fall into place and it's going to be great. And it's going to be exactly what was meant to be at that moment. And the same with campaigns and the same with everything. Like, I truly try and believe that for every area of my life.
So let's break it down into points, because I think we've mentioned a few things. First thing is to connect with what's in your heart.
Yeah.
Then let's give it up.
Yeah.
Trust, you can be control freak all you want, but you understand that in the end, outcomes are not in your hands. So all you can do is trust the process. And then I also hear you say, like, you're no longer freaking out about being liked or this being successful. Like, there is such a release of success. Like, you just inherently know either I succeed or I learn from it. Like,
it just is what it is. It's not, I don't even look at it as success or failure or accomplishment or not. It's just, this is what it is at this moment, and this is where I am in this moment. It has, like, I'm not putting it on a scale, or
you're not measuring.
No, there's no measurement. Like, I'm truly just being present in whatever it is at this moment.
And so Is your life a dream right now? Are you living the dream?
I immediately go back to like the stress that was just in the kitchen with all of the school and the painting and the groceries and the blah, blah, blah. Yes, I truly feel very, very blessed. My life is overwhelming at times because I tend to put a lot on my plate. And that is one of my biggest struggles is taking things off my plate, or like, I don't know, lining things up like time wise the right way, because I can get very overwhelmed and I do take on too much. But I feel like because of this opportunity and because of my social media, I feel like we have so many blessings. And people ask me all the time, like, what is your biggest, like, what was your favorite campaign? What was your biggest, like, most prized whatever? And I cannot pinpoint one thing. It's just my whole life at this point. I feel like we almost get to live beyond our means because of the things we've been gifted. And I'm constantly feeling just so incredibly like humbled and blessed because of them, because I know that's just so special. Like it is. And it doesn't, that I don't miss that. Like I'm very aware of that. And I feel very grateful for that.
And I think you did the human thing to do. Well, the dream must be perfect. And I just had chaos. So that's not the dream. But then you were human and you're like, that is part of the dream. Like,
Yeah.
I think that many of the people listening here today perhaps think that living the dream means a problem-free life or a chaos-free life. And really, the dream is where we want to see it. And it's about, like understanding those chaos are part of life and that we're going to have them regardless. It's how we can we stay grateful and humble to all of the other greatness that does come our way.
And I get to be home for those chaotic moments, which that for me personally is the dream. I get to watch my girls paint in the morning. I get to do all of these things with my girls every single day, and I get to be there for all of their growth and their little moments, and that is a huge dream for me.
So your kids are at home with you all the time, even not in COVID times. You are
24/7. Yes, I'm a full-time parent with them. I don't have childcare or my daughter, I homeschool her. Like, she's in grade 1. She doesn't go to school. She had anxiety around masks and in and out and stuff with, things shutting down this year. And so I just decided, I was a teacher, I'm just going to keep her home and do the things.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. My son just started tantruming, and so I'm happy to be sending him to Montessori soon.
Yeah, fair. That's my little one.
Mm-hmm. But I will miss him greatly, I'm sure, when he's cool, my little guy. Okay, so walk me through a regular day of your life. Like, what does that look like? We all want to know the inside of a, influencer. We're like, but what do they do? Yeah. What do they do? So walk me through morning to night. Like, what happens in your home on any given day?
Yeah, I mean, most of it is just momming like everybody else. Like, I'm doing all of the regular things that a mom would do. I'm trying to fit in the homeschool, and I try and make time for, showing up on my Instagram. So replying to all of my comments, showing my audience some love back on their pages. When I have campaigns due, I make sure that my husband is around to help me. He is like my Insta husband, as people call them. He works a full-time corporate job in oil and gas, and he will set aside time out of his day to come and shoot my content with me. So he's like my photographer, but it's more like I set everything up and he presses the button. But yeah, so we do that in the afternoons usually if I have something I need to shoot that day. And then I'm not gonna lie, I probably stay up till midnight most nights editing my content and writing my captions and sending that off to my agent so they can send it to brands for approval. And then I usually, like, at some point in that week, I fit in time for invoicing and time to get my insights to send off to the companies that I've worked with. And there's just a lot of trying to do it after the girls go to bed. I stay up really late.
So are you by yourself? Are you a solopreneur, or do you have a team? Do you have anybody helping you around, or is this you mostly?
It's me. Yeah.
Oh my God. I 3 layers more impressed with.
Yeah, it's just me.
I've got a team, and even then feels like hours just are not enough. Incredible. So
I know, it's crazy.
okay, I'm gonna go pick some of the questions here.
Mm-hmm. And personal is fine. So don't
Okay.
like feel like you have to skip.
Okay. So what has been your biggest challenge in this lifestyle as a mom and as a content creator, influencer, whatever you want to call you?
Yeah. I would say just fitting everything into a day. I feel like I need 12 extra hours in my day because I am doing it by myself. And I would like to maybe go to bed at a decent time sometimes, but I don't. And so giving the dedicated time that my girls deserve to them, and also getting my work done in normal daytime hours would be lovely, but it's really challenging. So I think just fitting everything in is my biggest challenge.
So delegating, you're not a great delegator.
I don't really have anyone to delegate to though. Like it truly does just fall all on me because I don't have a team. And so just finding the time.
What would it take for you to have a team? Like, what do you see like as a step for you to say like, okay, now it's timely to have like maybe somebody give me a hand?
I mean, I have somebody that helps me with my Pinterest, but that doesn't, I mean, that's not a huge thing. I don't know that, I don't know that I would ever get a team. I'm not sure because I really want to be the face. Like I need to show up, and I can't really have anybody else show up for me. I do have an agency in Toronto that I'm signed with, so I guess they're considered a team for me. They do my invoicing to get the money from brands for the partnerships that I've done, but then I have to invoice them. So, I mean, there's still work behind that. They do all of my pitching. They get all of my legal contracts prepared. And they do a lot of the conversations with brands when we're negotiating and just like working through a campaign. So that's extremely helpful. If I had to do all of that myself as well, there's no way. So I guess my agency is also my team.
Your team. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
A huge chunk. Okay. How did you get started on Instagram and pick up so many followers? So maybe this comes from, I'm going to guess, an entrepreneur themselves or somebody who wants to become an influencer.
Yeah.
Like, do you have any strategies? How do you get to have this many followers? What's the secret?
Oh my gosh, I wish there was one. I got in at a good time. That's truly what it was. I got in before Instagram changed completely, back before the algorithms all came into play, back when things were chronological, before Instagram was overrun and so popular and just like more censored. I was in before all of that, and growth was easy back then. I do have a hashtag though, that if anybody wants some tips, I do have some posts, maybe like 10 or so, with just tips for Instagram. So the hashtag is IG with Hey Sarah Darling. So like an I and a G with Hey Sarah Darling.
Okay.
And you can check out that hashtag.
Okay. So whoever asked that question, do that. Now, I would say consistency. You're there all the time though, right? Like you are producing content on your Instagram on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to show up. You have to show up, or your audience isn't going to connect with you. You have to offer something. I feel like you have to give back to your audience. So whether it just be like parenting advice or little tidbits of your life that other people might connect to, or design decor stuff that might inspire other moms at home, you have to offer people something. And then another thing, you don't want your page, if you're trying to grow a business, you don't want your page to just look like a personal page. So I wouldn't show up at somebody's page that just looked like, some mom was just posting her daily photos on it. Like I'd be like, well, I don't know her. Like, why am I going to follow her? But as soon as there's, if it's like edited beautifully, or it has like this cohesive, like beautiful aesthetic, then that does attract people more. So to be aware of that it's helpful. And use your hashtags, people. Use hashtags.
So what hashtags will you say? Like, so how do people go about using hashtags? I'm thinking like, I know when I first joined Instagram as a business, I was like, what? Now I've got great understanding on it, but for the purpose of our listeners, like, what is the use of a hashtag? What's the advantage? And like, do you have it?
Yeah, a hashtag is almost like used as like a search engine now, and people can see your content in this very specific like niche of a search engine. And so you want them to relate to your photo because that's going to bring in the people who are genuinely interested in that content. And now Instagram analyzes your photos and they know what they're about. And so if you're not hashtagging something that's connected, like there's a disconnect for the algorithm there. And so you want it to be relatable to what's in your photo.
Well, hashtag could be related to the photo or to what the copy of the photo is all about. Like you just, like want to bring people who are looking for that. Like so
ideally both even. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. How do you find time to reply to all the comments on your post that's so much time consuming?
It's very time consuming. That's why I stay up till midnight every night. I don't post every single day. And so the days that I'm not posting, those are the days that I'm really trying to catch up on replying to my comments and, going to those people's pages to also learn about them and build that connection. So yeah, I usually set a timer and I'm like, okay, I'm going to give myself right now 15 minutes to like go hard replying to my comments. And when I'm not posting on the other days, the time that I would have spent trying to catch up on new comments, I'm going back to old comments, like, within that week still, but I use that time for that.
If your children were asked today and both of them were like super cohesive and could talk really clearly, because I'm guessing your little one, maybe not so much, what will they say mom does for work?
What does my older daughter say? It's something really funny. She says that I'm a follower. That's what she says. She's like, my mom's a follower. Because she knows that I have followers. And so she's connecting it to that. And she also knows that I take photos. So she says she takes pictures. And my little one, she has no idea. She's too little. But
like, whatever. My mom is always here with this in her hand. We don't know what that is, but
yeah.
That's awesome. What is the most amazing thing that has happened to you because of your blog?
Oh gosh. So many things. One of the coolest things that I also definitely feel was manifested. We got to go with Disney on a Disney cruise to the Bahamas. So in September, I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I think I need to take Isla to Disney. I think this year Disney is a goal for me. And then in October, Disney emailed me and they said, hey, we want to take you to Disneyland and we're going to give you, and so you get to choose 3 people to come with you. So 4 of us total. It was my mom, my husband, my oldest daughter, my youngest wasn't born yet, and and we got to go to Disney World or Disneyland for 3 days. And then from there, they took us on a cruise to the Bahamas and we went to like the Disney private island and everything was paid and it was incredible. It was literally incredible.
I now just want to become an influencer just so that Disney calls me and says, hey, how about this?
Yeah, right. So that was one of the coolest things for sure.
Wow, that's amazing. That's super cool. Wow, that's amazing. What do you think makes brands like Disney reach out to you? What do you think that you've got, that you put out there into the universe, that brands come to you and they say, hey, we want you to experience our product?
Yeah, so I've talked to my agency about this a lot because they do say that I'm one of their like busiest content creators on the roster. She said that my photos, like the aesthetic of my photos, is really appealing to brands. So just like the bright, colorful, but not like overwhelming, not too busy. Like they're just very visually, marketing wise appealing. They love that. And I think the fact that I have younger kids and I maybe connect with families, that's really appealing as well.
I'm just going to log into your page.
Yeah, do it.
Look at, yes, I see what you mean. It is so peaceful and beautiful. What is your favorite product or theme to work with? In what kind of campaign do you have? Do you give your agency like, I love working with women's products or house products, or like, is there one that you absolutely love, like mostly a theme that you like mostly?
Honestly, no. I know whenever they present offers to me, I just know right away if it feels like it's a fit. And if it's not, then I just pass. And if it is a fit, if it genuinely like authentically fits in my life, then that's something I would take on. But if it's not something we would ever see ourselves using, or if it just doesn't fit, then it doesn't happen.
So you're very authentic.
Oh, I walk away from so much.
Really?
Yeah.
And so it's based on a feeling or things that you like you don't agree with, that you're like, yeah, no, not for me.
Yeah, well, both, I guess. Like, I just know if I'm like, no, it's not appealing to me. Or, if somebody tried to get us to promote a meat-based product, let's say, like, we don't eat meat, I would never do that. I'm worked with a company who has dairy and cheese for 2 years now, and we do eat cheese. That's one thing we do eat, but we do not drink milk. And part of the campaign, they wanted us to use the milk-based products. And I said, no, like, we absolutely will not, because I do not do that in real life. So I'm not going to do that just for your campaign. Like, I will absolutely use the cheese, because cheese, I freaking love cheese. Nachos are life. But right. But I'm not going to do another product that we don't authentically use.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So for those for the listeners who do not know you, you are Canadian and you are in Alberta, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, in Calgary.
Calgary. Do you prefer Canadian products? Do you tend to prefer Canadian products? Or are you or are you pretty open to just about
The
anything?
majority of my partnerships, actually, I would almost say all of my partnerships are Canadian.
Oh.
Yeah, Canadian is a big priority for me. But I mean, some of those companies, they have US branches to them, but they always have a Canadian side to their company. And I always work with the Canadian side.
Will you consider yourself a confident woman?
Yes. I don't get affected by a lot of, like, if I ever had a negative comment, which my audience is truly amazing, I don't have that nasty side that a lot of people get, but that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. And I know who I am. And if you don't like it, you don't have to be here.
How did you get there? Or were you always this way?
I'm pretty sure I was always like that, but I also feel like that's something you kind of just pick up as you go. And I mean, I don't feel like I have a lot of time for crap now. I'm just so busy that I don't have time to carry that energy. And so I just let it go.
And what do you do for self-care? Like, as a mom and as a busy entrepreneur, like, what do you do for you? Like, you time?
Yeah.
What?
That's a good question. I think I'm really bad at that. I don't know, Olga. I'm really bad at that. Because I'm in such a busy phase in my life, having 2 little kids, like, time just for me is really tricky. My husband is amazing, and he is very willing to be like, here, I'll take the girls, like, I'll take them outside for an hour. You do whatever you need to do. And so those moments, I guess I use that as just like relaxing time. That's usually when I would lay there on my bed, say, and just reply to comments, because I do find that relaxing. I try and get outside every day. Yeah, even though it's work, because I'm not doing it while I have kids running around me. And so when I can do something, when I can get my tasks done, I feel less stressed and I feel accomplished. And so those kind of things, if I can do them in peace, I know that it's still work, but it literally does feel good to me. And we also try and get outside every single day. So sunshine, nature, just being outside is really therapeutic for me.
Do you take vitamins? Do you exercise? You practice like anything that is like, okay, this is my peace of mind. If I do not, like, for me, if I don't move, or if I don't sleep 7 hours, dear God, please just,
Yeah. I mean, I'm in bed by midnight, so that's not that early, but it's not the worst. Yeah. And then I usually do sleep till 7 or 8. So my husband gets up first, and he starts work earlier than I do. And like, I still get a decent amount of sleep. So sleep is very important to me. I can't function when I'm tired. And then for exercise, just running around with my girls. If we go to parks, we go on long walks together. I try to start exercise programs or routines, and I'll do it for a week. But the chaos that having to fit that in while the girls are playing or whining or crying at my feet, like, at this stage in my life, I just have to accept that it's really hard and I don't have time to actually dedicate an hour in a gym, or like, we have a gym in our basement. So I just I just tell myself, you know what, when you can get in, but if you can't, it's okay too.
You're forgiving. Yeah.
Yeah. And we eat well and we go outside every day and like we're active. So
Do you have a life coach or a coach? Somebody who coaches your mindset, anything?
I don't. I could probably use it though.
You're welcome. You're welcome to come anytime.
Yeah.
So who do you bounce your ideas back and forth, moments of insecurity or even heaviness, emotional heaviness when you're trying to fit it all? Like, who's your go-to person? Who do you use as your, like, I need
Yeah.
help, you need to listen?
Yeah. My best friends, I would say, and most of them are also influencers. So they understand. I've built a lot of incredible relationships on this place. And like my dearest friends are people I've met on Instagram, as weird as that sounds. I have two best friends in the US, and our families have visited each other for weeks at a time, multiple times. We text each other, FaceTime each other every single day. My best friends that live in Calgary with me, they're all content creators as well. And so we'll help each other with our content. One of my girlfriends, Jess, her name's Jess Jansen. If you want to check her out, it's the Jessica Jansen. Her and I jive so well together. She is the same type of personality as me. She's a busybody. She's driven. She has a big list, but loves to accomplish it. And we feed off of each other so well. So when we get together, we're accomplishing work. Like we're actually getting stuff done, but it's good. Like we're not wasting time in our eyes. We're working together and like fueling each other. So yeah.
I will follow her.
Yeah. She has an incredible story.
So I am noticing a theme here though. I'm a busybody, I'm busy, I go, I fit it all in. Time for me, whenever it shows up, I'll have it.
Yeah.
How do you cope? How do you cope? How do you keep going the next morning? Like many of my clients are type A personalities.
Yeah.
I am an recovered type A. I can't stop. In fact, when I first started meditating, I remember thinking like, how do people do this? I just want to pull the hair out of my own head because that'll be more interesting than just sitting here and breathing.
Yeah.
But I personally really needed it. Like I definitely had anxiety creeping in if I didn't balance things out. And so for me, it's like my mental health is at the forefront. That's one of my priorities. Like, what do you think is your medicine? To call it that, like for me, moving is my medicine. What is your medicine? What keeps you grounded? What hasn't let Sarah become this like, woohoo, look at me?
Sometimes I probably am. I don't honestly know. I mean, movement for me too. Getting outside, getting the sunshine is huge for me. I definitely feel like I probably suffer from a seasonal depression in the winter. I struggle really hard in the winter, like to the point where I'm like, Mark, we need to move. We need to leave Canada. We need to go to Texas. He could get a job there. And we're like, is this something we need to do? Because I cannot just sit in my house for 7 months of the year. So that's when my low points is in the winter. Right now in the summer, I'm like, okay, what are the things I need to get done today? Let's do it.
So how do you help yourself in those hard moments? Like you're not alone. Like I think a lot of Canadians lack vitamin D. And so as a result, we all feel like I'm South American, but like it's mandatory for me to go down south in winter. And this past winter is the first one in 19 years that I haven't done it. And it was like,
right.
But then it forced me to be outside. I went out every single day of this winter.
Same.
Because COVID forced me. I'm like, that's it, we're leaving. But so what helps you? What do you think is the thing that makes you feel like, okay, I got it. One more day and I'm good. Like what brings you back to your own strength and to your resiliency?
I think knowing that I get to go to sleep at night and tomorrow is a new day. If it's a hard day, I just know that today is today. I'm going to leave it in today. And tomorrow when I wake up, it's a new start. And I tell myself it's going to be a good day. Like you can't have the same day twice. And
that's awesome. So that's your mindset. You're very strong in mindset. More questions from your followers. Did you have a hard time appearing on camera? And how did you overcome insecurity? So we kind of overcome that. We've kind of talked about you having always been confident. But what about exposing your life on camera?
I remember when Instagram stories first became a thing? And one of my girlfriends, Nicole, she also has an Instagram account, and she was like, are you just gonna like get on and talk to the camera, or like, what are we gonna do? I'm like, yeah, I think so. Like, I think we just like talk to it like it's our friend, maybe. It was so bizarre. Just the concept of like looking in your phone and just talking to it. We were like, oh my gosh, I don't know. But as soon as you start doing it, like I just know that I am talking to my friends. Like my audience is incredible and they're so supportive. And it is just like talking to my friends now. And I just look at it that way.
I always have a coach. Unlike you, I've always like I love the accountability for me.
Yeah.
Anyways, it comes with a coach.
Yeah.
And I would say I'm a really good life coach, but I know nothing about business, or I knew very little about business. So when my business went entirely online after I found out I was pregnant, I closed my yoga and meditation studio, and I was just online. I had to
Yeah.
learn so much about running a business online, which is very different than running a brick and mortar, where you have ads already always appearing, and people are like, "Oh, you teach meditation. I know what I'm doing here." And I remember my coach challenged me to show up every single day on Instagram for 30 days. And I am a very confident person like you. I think that I was born confident. I don't ever remember like really struggling with my own confidence.
Yeah.
I remember thinking exactly like, but what am I? Who? What am I saying? Like, why would
Yeah.
they like show them what
Like,
you
where do I look?
why will they care to know what I'm cooking today? Like, why will anybody? She's like, they want to know that you're human. Show them that.
Mhm.
And it's true. Now I don't think twice. I'm like, oh, here's me in my pajamas. Don't ever follow me for fashion advice. I look terrible, but
Exactly.
it's practice. I think that this is something very important for women listening. Forget about Instagram, but just think of anything that feels challenging for you right now. It's only challenging because you haven't done it enough times. Sometimes when we just
Yeah.
get into the habit of doing, like, then it becomes really easy to just keep showing up.
Yeah.
You appear to be put together and confident. Is it always that way? So I think we kind of covered that, but is there
Yeah. No, watch my Instagram stories.
enough said? Okay, we'll watch your Instagram stories. Um, how do you feel about homeschooling your own children? Is it harder than teaching someone else's children because you used to be a school teacher?
Yeah, it is a lot harder because someone else's child wouldn't tell me, no, I don't want to do this right now. They're not comfortable enough with strangers or with somebody not in their inner circle to act out. And my own child is extremely comfortable with me. And it's so hard. Sometimes I feel like I'm getting nothing done with her. And I'm like, oh my gosh, am I ruining her education? Like, is this working for us? And then other days I'm like, oh my God, she can read. Like, she didn't know her letter sounds at the beginning of the year. And now I've taught her to read. Like, what? And so with the hard moments where she's fighting me constantly and there's screaming fights about getting your schoolwork done, it is also magic when I get to be the one like in the teacher mode to actually see her grow. So it is very hard, but it is worth it.
Fair. And I think that most of us have experienced being a homeschool teachers now, and so we understand the pressures. And like you, I mean, it's not like you have determined working hours and determined school teaching hours. It's
Yeah.
like all of it mixed. How do you manage that schedule? How do you manage that day to day? Like I've heard you said a few times now, you go to bed at midnight, which is a
Yeah.
side effect of having to do some work past bedtime.
Yeah.
Of the girls. Like, what else? Do you have any tips, any strategies that you've learned since you've been doing this for 6 months?
My little one kind of runs our house right now. So I have to base everything around her nap times because with her, I cannot get anything done. Like
Amen.
I just use her wake times are the active times for our family. And so that's when I take them to the park. That's when we get out and do the fun things. And then when Noah goes to bed, Isla and I will get her school done. And then if we get it done quickly or like, within an hour, then I have extra time left over, then I'll let Isla go, watch a show or go play with her toys or go outside in the backyard. And that's when I'll try and get some of my own work done. So Noah's nap times really do kind of determine what we're doing.
Same. We're talking now because my son is sleeping.
Yeah.
How do you deal with mom guilt? because I don't know if you've experienced this. I
Oh,
I am with my phone a lot because I'm
mhm.
coaching women. I am on Instagram. I have 2 Instagram accounts. Imagine 2, because I run essentially 2 businesses, one for women with infertility and one for just women with anxiety and
Yeah.
type A personalities.
Yeah.
And sometimes I find like, holy shit, have I looked at my son for like, have I seen his face for half an hour? Have I been
Yeah.
buried on my screen? Like, how do
Yeah.
you deal with that? How do you balance that out? Because I'm sure for you, it's perhaps even more pressure to be on that phone
Yeah.
than even it is to me.
It's really hard. The mom guilt part is one of the hardest things for me. My daughter, when she was younger, she used to come and take my phone out of my hand and go put it on the table. And I swear my heart just shattered into a million pieces because I'm like, shoot, she is noticing that I'm staring at this device, even though I'm working. It's not like I'm just like scrolling Zara. And yeah, just knowing that she saw that and she's like, no, mom, like pay attention to me. And so I really do try and just have those dedicated times to work. And then when I'm with the girls, I may take a story of them quickly, like to share later, but I try and still be very present in the times that I'm with them because yeah, the mom guilt is hard.
Yeah,
So yeah, just having dedicated times to work and maybe not crossing like
those two,
those
same.
lines. Yeah.
And I do love my son also takes my phone away. He's like,
Yeah.
time off, mom.
Right.
I borrowed you all morning to work. Now it's my time.
Yeah.
Let me see. Are you, that one's not so. Oh yeah. Are you worried about um your children being exposed to the public eye? Is that a worry of
You
yours?
know, I'm not. No, they're probably going to grow up and have their own Instagram accounts one day anyway. I don't leave my children anywhere and I don't show the front of my house ever. And so it's not like people know where we live exactly anyways, and I'm always with my children. So
Yeah.
I'm not overly worried.
Where do you hope this job will ever lead you to? Photography, videography, acting, more influencing? Where do you see the future of this?
I think it's just kind of like the going with the flow thing. I don't necessarily have an end goal. I'm kind of just like riding the wave while I can. I mean, Instagram could disappear one day and none of us will have any of this, and like nothing is really guaranteed and it's not even really in our control. And
Yeah.
so I'm just kind of going with the flow and just enjoying the benefits of it.
When you think of retirement, what do you think? Like, are you investing money somewhere for your retirement? Like,
Yeah, so Mark and I, because of our personalities, like we are very responsible with money and we have a really good little nest egg built up. And I feel like we're going to be fine for retirement. And yeah, we have a financial advisor and we invest with Richardson GMP. And yeah, we're good there.
I would like to add here, and like for you or for anybody listening, one of the things my husband and I both are self-employed.
Yeah.
I because I come from a government job with like a safe, pension plan,
Mhm.
whatnot. That was such a scary thought for me. Like, what am I gonna do in retirement? And one of the best things I've ever done with my money, little or big, any amount of money, is save it up and buy real estate. And I want every woman to consider that as a very profitable, great use of your money, ladies. I've had this in my head for so long. I'm like, I need to, like, I'm not a business coach, but I'm
Yeah.
definitely also smart with money. And I think that I even see my children's future being taken care of because of the investments we've
Yes.
done on real estate. And that's such
Right.
a peaceful feeling to have. So
Totally.
sometimes, and you sound like very smart with your money, but like when we have our 15-hour fame, like where we're making good cash, I
Mhm.
would encourage every single woman to think about real estate. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
even I think about like the home burning. I still have the land. Like, how did McDonald's make money? Land. They bought
Yeah.
every single building
Right.
they have as store. Anyways, that's just my little blurb around for my listeners mostly. Okay, I like everything else that I have on my page. I think has been pretty much you've answered. Um, Oh, this one, 'cause I think it's funny. How long have you been a vegetarian? And what was the driving factor in that decision? And what was the hardest thing to give up?
So it started when I was pregnant with my second daughter. I just developed this aversion to meat and I just could not stand it. And so from there, I kind of just never ate it again. And my husband actually got diagnosed with a severe case or severe whatever of Crohn's. And so his doctor said the worst thing he can do for his body is eat meat. And so our family basically just gave up meat. I had an aversion to it. He shouldn't eat it. And we learned how to cook without it. And
Much.
I don't honestly really miss any of it. The one thing I might miss is the convenience of it. Like if you go to any restaurant or anything, there's always meat options, but there's not always a really good vegetarian option. So that would be the thing I miss. But with that also being said, my daughters, they are their own people and I don't control necessarily like what they put into their bodies in that way. Like I'm not going to let them have a free for all on candy, but you
Right.
know, if we're at a restaurant and my daughter wants to order a chicken, then she is welcome to do that. That's for her to decide. I don't cook it here, but she can order it when she goes out.
Yeah. I essentially went from vegetarian to carnivore diet.
Yeah.
So I think that, and it was a very easy transition and it happened naturally. Like I just need more protein and I'm loving what I'm feeling and my brain is doing. And
Totally.
I do love this idea of, like, I think following your body's instinct like that.
Yeah.
Was like your body saying like, "Ick, we don't need this right now."
Yeah. Just be in tune to what your body is wanting.
And I agree with you. When I was a vegetarian, I am also celiac, so I've got like my own
You're so limited.
limitations. And I hated that all the vegetarian options were so loaded on grains and carbs. That my body doesn't do well with carbs. So yes, I find it a lot easier to be a carnivore than I did being vegetarian.
Yeah.
Lastly, I just want to leave our audience with like inspiration, Sarah. So like if you like we have people from all walks listening here, and a lot of my listeners are afraid of doing things because they're risky or because they don't know if they're gonna succeed for a fact.
Yeah.
What words of wisdom will you have to share with somebody who is at that verge of maybe wanting to start their own profession, a career, a self-employed, or maybe just believing that they can have the things they want to and the lifestyle, like Disney inviting them to go on a cruise? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, what will you have to share with them?
How do you know you won't succeed? Like, why are you getting in the way of yourself? Like, you have to have your own back and cheer yourself on, give it a shot. If it doesn't work, it's not going to be the end of the world. You don't know you won't succeed. So I just always stop like the negative self-talk, and this is the best thing that ever happened for me. I am way happier now. I make more money now. I am with my children now. There's so many blessings that have come out of me taking that leap to leave a safe, a safe job as a teacher. And I was so scared. Like I cried on the phone with my principal, but it turned out to be so good. And if I wouldn't have followed that gut feeling and that nudge, I wouldn't have been able to experience that. So, you don't know you won't succeed. And like truly you can feel it. Listen to that feeling and try.
Oh, I echo that. I think that if I had to give one piece of advice to somebody on the verge of wanting to make a choice, is follow that gut instinct.
Yeah. There's always a nudge. I feel like if you have that nudge and like if you really dig deep and listen to yourself and your body, you kind of know when something needs to change or something's shifting, or if you're supposed to go down a certain path. Like if you really dig deep, I find you can feel it.
I have one last question. Sorry, I know I said this was the last question. I'm about to be coaching women on body image.
Yeah.
So as somebody who's always exposing yourself photos, like I'm sure you're very like picky about like what goes on into a photo setting and all of that as part of your success. What do you have to say to women who may struggle with body image and like saying, okay, I look good enough in this photo? Because I mean, you've had babies, your body has probably transformed.
My body is so different now. I used to go to the gym every single day. I used to be so in shape. Because I am a more confident person, I look at my body now and I'm like, I mean, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. And that's kind of where my thoughts end. And I go to my girls, and there's literally nothing I would not sacrifice for my daughters. When I take my photos, this is probably going to surprise you, I don't even necessarily look at me in the photos. I look at, is my couch lined up? Is the angle of the wall straight? Is Noah blinking? It's not about me in the photo. It literally is about angles and positioning and the rule of thirds, and it's all of the other things. It's truly not about my body. And people ask me that all the time, and I'm like, that's funny, because it really doesn't even cross my mind. I mean, if I'm making a ridiculous face in the photo, okay, that's going to cross my mind, but it's not about, oh my God, does my whatever look thick? Or that's not what I see.
That's amazing. I love that. And I love that even when your mind does go there, it stops
at that, because I know it's going to cut off those thoughts if I go to my girls and I immediately am like, well, would you rather have your girls, or would you rather have your body not so perfect anymore? Like, take your pick. You're always going to choose your children. Done. And if you really want to do something about it, if you want it to change, then do something about it.
Like, do something about it. Love it.
You have to get up and move. You have to, like, look at your eating, get help if you need to, like, seek like a nutritionist or, someone to motivate you. There's so much out there right now to help with those kind of things that you just have to do the hard work. And I have so many friends who have lost 100 pounds working out, and, there's so many different programs that you can join and support groups you can join. And at the end of the day, it just takes the hard work, which is hard, but it's doable. Yeah.
And also the hard work is to love yourself unconditionally. So,
Absolutely.
There's going to be hard work somehow.
Yeah.
You get to choose how. Where do you spend that hard work in?
Exactly.
Sarah, from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of my audience, thank you so much. You are a really busy mom, a self-employed, busy woman. And I just want to say thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I don't know, like, do usually brands give you something? What should I give you?
Oh my gosh, nothing. Don't be silly. Don't even.
Honestly, your good heart, and I couldn't thank you enough. This is very meaningful to me, and I know people really enjoy listening to you. So
no, thank you so much for having me. And connection is so important to me. So I'm really happy that I was able to connect with you. And if anyone listening, feels a connection, or just, I don't know, like less alone, or they just, I don't know, that's worth it right there. So
I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And you guys come back next Monday. We'll have another amazing episode coming to you.